Hey, shower thoughts.
What if your entire life is flashing in front of your eyes, but you're already dead?
It'd be a lot slower than I imagined.
If you're not dead,
Yeah.
but alive, everything is trying to kill you constantly. Your stomach is constantly trying to kill you. Feeding it makes it stop. You need to drink as well. Being hydrated is a necessity. Drink your water.
Yes.
Normally, you empty your drink from the top, but when you use a straw, you empty it from the bottom. Your lungs are also constantly trying to kill you. Breathing resets that timer too. We really take for granted the fact that most of our body's processes are automated. Aging is a disease with a 100% mortality rate. Maybe that's why aliens aren't visiting us.
Or, on the other side of that coin, aging is also a privilege, because if you're not actively dying, you're already dead. So,
Maybe they should visit Antarctica though. Because Antarctica is statistically the best place to have a baby, because all 11 babies born there lived, making it have a 0% infant mortality rate.
I didn't know that.
It's pretty cool to think about that there are only 365 different birthdays for nearly 8 billion people.
Yeah, that's cool.
You live to be around 80, and you spend a third of your life sleeping. But when you sleep, you're just looking at the back of your eyelids for 8 hours straight. And to be honest, sleep is just a free trial of death. So we're all dead. Here are some more shower thoughts.
What if death is just sleep without the dreams?
A lot of TV shows have those fake laugh tracks in the background, so you know when to laugh at the really bad jokes.
Seinfeld.
But what you don't really think about is, for the really, really old shows,
They're dead.
while you're sitting and watching and listening to it, you're also, at the same time, probably listening to a bunch of dead people laughing. Related, one day, there are going to be more dead people on social media than there are living people. If they still exist, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube even, will be a graveyard of content and information from people who lived hundreds of years ago.
How do you get someone's account taken down if they've died, assuming you don't know their password? Do you have to message the platform directly and then include an obituary or a death certificate in order for your loved one's status updates to not be there forever? Or someone must know. Please let me know.
It will become the biggest source of information for any event. You'll be able to see how people reacted to presidential elections, to the death of their idols, to the spread of new diseases, to everything there is. You won't be able to see how the world reacted to sliced bread though. Bread is just a loaf of dough, so by that logic, cheese is just a loaf of milk, and an ice cube is just a loaf of water. Speaking of ice, something I find kinda interesting is that there have been entire civilizations who never knew that water had a solid form. The money you earn is never actually yours, it's just your turn with it. Everyone works to survive, and all of the money that you earn actually belongs to someone else. There's a lot of jobs and businesses that bank off of the fact that things in your life can go wrong. Doctors only make money because you get sick. Mechanics make money because your car breaks down. Lawyers make money because you messed up really, really bad. Like, maybe you robbed a bank. But if you do try and rob a bank, you shouldn't have any problems with rent or food bills for the next 10 years, regardless of whether or not you're successful. A jail and a prison are basically the same.
That's a funny one because that's assuming that you robbed enough to last you 10 years. I don't think it's as lucrative as we see on TV. I was once watching this video series where criminals review Hollywood movies and they speak about how realistic the crime was depicted. And for the bank robbery one, they were talking about how the take on a bank robbery is relatively low, at least on average, where the conviction rate is pretty high. At least now. I know in the past it must have been so much easier to rob a bank when there wasn't CCTV and facial recognition and fingerprints and dye packs and cell tower data and whatever else they use against you in a court of law. Unless you're a Pink Panther. If I can find an article on that, I'll let you know.
Jail and a prison are basically the same thing, but a jailer and prisoner are completely different. The company Bic is known for making lighters and pens. Both of these happen to be things that are frequently stolen, which is kind of a pretty good business model if you think about it. Teachers make money off of the fact that you don't know how to, add numbers together or speak a language properly. And speaking of language, you ever just take time to think about letters and words?
Yes.
They're weird and confusing, but kinda cool. It takes more letters to spell the word short than it does to spell long. Also, all the E's in the word Mercedes are pronounced differently. When you say the word forward, your lips move forward. When you say the word back, your lips move back. When hurricanes form, the most dangerous part is the eye. It destroys everything in its path. It's right in the middle, which also happens to be where the letter I is in the middle of the word hurricane. It's kinda cool. Hurricanes are deadly. Everyone tends to talk about and consider the question that is, where do we go when we die? And it's a pretty good question. But no one ever asks, where are we before we were born? The world hasn't changed much over the past 700 years. Today we take pictures of food and put it on Instagram, and a lot of people get super frustrated by this. But during the Renaissance, people would sit around for weeks on end painting a table full of food. You know, you've probably walked past someone that you've played video games with online before and just didn't realize. Similarly, you see people every single day that you will never see again in your entire life. Out of every event that has happened, everything led you both to the same place at the same time, only to veer off path and never meet again.
Sometimes I think about how you never know when is the last time you're listening to a song, or the last time you're speaking to someone, or the last time you're seeing someone. Not particularly because I think they're going to die before the next time we cross paths again, although they might die before the next time we cross paths again, but also because you never know if your lives are going to intersect again or not. I move around a lot, and so do the majority of my friends. So whenever I say goodbye to them, I'm wondering if it's the last time I'm going to see them. And then if I see them again, I don't know, 2 years later, in a city or a country that I never imagined being in 2 years in the past, there's always a moment of reflection when I consider how many confluences, how many factors had to come together for that moment to even be happening. It's beautiful in its way.
On a similar note, you've probably seen someone on the last day of their life, and you could have never known. To make this more fun though, your future wife is probably telling her boyfriend that they'll be together forever. How cute. You often hear that life is a roller coaster, and I get it, it feels like it. But when you're on a roller coaster, aren't the downhill parts the most fun?
Yeah.
You also often hear things that are so easy a caveman could do it. The problem is that cavemen were able to start fires without lighters or matches and were able to kill animals that were 3 to 4 times their size. So, is it really that easy? If you've been using technology like computers or cell phones for years, as most of us have, you've probably scrolled for hundreds or thousands of miles. But honestly, you scrolling doesn't mean you've actually moved anything. When you scroll on your phone, nothing changes except for the color of the pixels on screen. Nothing is moving, it just seems like it. When your laptop overheats, it freezes. No British king would have this issue though, because no ruling British king has ever used the internet. Before the invention of phones, the question, "Where are you?" was probably never asked.
The video is 2 years old.
Eventually, when you're ordering something or sending a letter or something, you may have to put Earth as a part of your address, maybe when you can live on the moon. You've seen more of the surface of the moon with your own eyes than you will ever likely see of Earth. Actually, if you think about it, about half of the universe is in your field of view at all times. But for now, humans are on Earth. But we're weird. And a little broken. Brushing your teeth is really the only time you ever clean your skeleton. Cleaning is just rearranging dirt.
Yes.
Speaking of cleaning, you should probably really clean your glasses right now. They're disgusting.
I wear contacts.
You really can't clean something without making something else dirty. You also can't move your top teeth. Go ahead and try.
You can't move your bottom teeth.
You can't hum while holding your nose shut either. Go ahead, try this one too. And while you're at it, you also can't snap your fingers inside your mouth. You ever realize that humans cut down birdhouses to make birdhouses? If you've ever clapped your hands before, you never actually stopped. There's just a really, really, really long pause between claps. We do have some redeeming qualities, I guess. We live a lot longer than most animals. If you're over the age of 30, you are alive before every single dog that is currently on Earth. We argue a lot though, over really, really stupid issues, like whether or not we should eat other animals even though we are animals ourselves. But if vegetarians don't like each other, is it still considered beef?
Yes.
Let's flip a coin and decide. Flipping a coin isn't really a 50-50 thing though, it's random. In a vacuum, a robot can flip a coin millions of times and get heads every single time.
I only choose heads.
Humans only really use it to make decisions less stressful, even though it's a purely random event. Machine learning is becoming a bigger and bigger part of our lives every day. but you observe machine learning all the time. Your brain. Your brain is really, really good at learning things. This is shown in your dreams. Your brain can recreate scenarios with people you've known for years and just have full-on conversations with them that your brain made up on the spot. Even with people you just met, and it can all feel so real.
This makes me think of how it's believed that your brain cannot create a new face in a dream. Therefore, all the faces that you see in a dream are faces that you've seen in real life, subconsciously or consciously. And that could be when you're walking on the internet, in passing on the street, in a picture. What I don't know is how they came to that conclusion, but it's interesting.
But no one has ever dreamt about popcorn, until it happened. And honestly, the person who discovered popcorn had to be super confused when it happened. You ever think about how arms on chairs are just like chairs for your arms? Also, if two mind readers are reading each other's minds, whose mind are they actually reading? It's weird.
I don't particularly believe in mind reading. I think you can make deductions based off of what you know of a person or form mental models, but actually read their mind? I don't think so. Not directly, at least. Maybe something like The Mentalist, yes, if you've ever seen that show. But then again, I've never read any research specific to mind reading, so I don't know. Feel free to contest that.
But what's also weird is that blue is usually seen as cold, while red is usually seen as hot. But blue fire is hotter than red fire. It's likely that another kid is going to grow up in your childhood home, and have a lot of the same experiences that you did while growing up there. They'll use every room, toilet, staircase, and light switch that you did. But why are they called light switches? At the same time, they're also dark switches. Almost everything you have ever owned is still on Earth somewhere. Unless you're Elon Musk and send your car into space. All of the materials needed to create today's technology has existed since the beginning of the Earth. It just wasn't in the right form or put together yet. You're living in an age where you can be smarter than almost anyone in the past 2 million years. You can be smarter than almost all 100 billion people who have ever lived. You have the world's information at your fingertips. But you'd rather sit here and listen to me tell you what I think about in the shower. I'm flattered, really. But please get out of my house before I call the cops.
It was interesting though, and that last point was a good one. We have access to most of the information that we want to know on the internet. And then there are so many free resources from YouTube, which is pretty much a video library in and of itself, to documentaries, to books, to courses. I like when people share their free go-to learning resources, so please feel free to do that down below. And I've mentioned in quite a few videos that Yale offers free classes, lecture classes specifically, on subjects from finance, their finance one is really good, to history, to linguistics. MIT has open courseware as well. Math, science, engineering. I've never taken one of their engineering courses. But there is no sign up or login. There's no commitment on how long you take to finish the material. You just have to choose the one you want and then download. So I'll make sure to link both of those down below. Anyway, as far as a shower thought that I think about is how many people have pictures of me in the background of their pictures that hang on their wall. So if a tourist is taking a picture in front of some type of national monument or at the beach with their family in the foreground, how many pictures have me in the background just chilling? If you have a shower thought, let me know what it is. And this video is from a channel called Aperture. The video itself is called Shower Thoughts That Make Me Question Reality. And this is actually one video of a series. So let me know if you liked it and we can continue the series, or if you have any other videos from this channel you want to recommend, let me know. Other than that, that's all I've got. Leave your thoughts on any of this, and thanks for watching with me.